Hey guys, I've tried to do this video twice now, and so hopefully it all works out today. But I wanted to share with you guys what I do to save money in homeschooling. My husband works full-time and I pick up odd jobs around and I do some different things, but I don't make a full-time income. And I have 4 children, 2 of which homeschool full-time. So I need to find ways to save money. Yes, honey?
Have another one?
Yes, you may.
Thanks.
So I need to do my best to save money when I do my homeschooling planning for the year. And I thought I'd share some ways that I do it. Obviously, some of the things I do, other people won't need to do or will disagree with. Everyone's different. Everyone has that budget in their mind where they know, okay, I can't go up above this amount, or I'm not willing to do this, where their balance is for their home. Sometimes you spend more because it will give you a smoother homeschooling day. And so what I'm doing might save more money, but it might not fit in your household. So I understand that, and I bet you might hear some things that I do and you think, oh, I could never do that. Likewise, because my balance is different than your balance. But if you are thinking about homeschooling and you're not quite sure how to cut back or where to spend money or how to budget for it, maybe this will kind of help. And I wrote it down because otherwise I will forget what I'm gonna say.
Hey, Mom, what did I get?
You can have another yogurt if you want.
Thank
Here,
you.
there's a little bit more in there. Alright, here you go. Go put it in the kitchen. Okay, yogurt break. So the first thing is using non-disposable curriculum. Now, I know this is kind of a touchy subject because some people rely on the disposable curriculum. You want to be able to hand a child a notebook or a workbook and let them do that notebook and then work on something else, especially if you have many children who are all doing homeschooling at the same time. You can give them all books and they can sit down and you can kind of facilitate, but you're not sitting there and doing a single lesson with every single child. And so I understand why certain families use ACE or what are other open and go basically. I think the Good and the Beautiful is like that. There are a few other ones, master books, where you buy the workbook and you open it up and you do it. And there's definitely that convenience factor there, but comes the added cost of having to buy new curriculum every single year. So if you have a 2nd grader and you buy all the 2nd grade workbooks, you're going to have to buy those with the next 2nd grader. And so one way that I save a lot of money is I buy a curriculum that I don't have to do that with. I use Oak Meadow, which is a secular curriculum. It's Waldorf based. It's very loosely Waldorf, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying it's Waldorf. Yes, sweet bee? Yes, you can have one more. But it is Waldorf based. I absolutely love it. I love it's very whole child centric. It's very nature and art based. And you get a syllabus book, especially in kindergarten or in 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade. And it's just like one book that has everything in it. But it's not a workbook, which means that it's very parent-teacher intensive because I'm the one that's sitting there and reading it and planning it out. So on one hand, I have to sit there and I have to do it all. But on the other hand, I have not had to buy any new base curriculum for my 2nd daughter because I already bought it for my oldest daughter. So like this last year, I had to buy 4th grade from Oak Meadow, but I didn't have to buy 2nd grade for my 2nd grader because I already had it. So all I had to buy for her were literally some main lesson books, which is what they do their work in, which is basically like a really nice big drawing pad. And that was it. So she was very, very cheap compared to if I had to buy a whole new set, say, of the master books or of like ACE curriculum. And I'm sure there's more, so I'm not just trying to pinpoint those. Those are just the only ones that come to my head right away. So I'm just saying that is a way that I save money, is by not using a disposable curriculum for the base curriculum. So it is very cheaper in the long run when you have all of these grades, especially if you have more than one child. Then they can just use the next grade and you already have it and it's ready for them. You don't have to buy a whole new set of workbooks. The second one is not having a specific, dedicated, decorated homeschool room. I have had that before. In my old house, when my daughter was in first grade, we had a homeschool room. And we had a huge chalkboard. And I would do the Waldorf chalkboard drawings, which I do miss because those are so fun to do. And I would draw a new picture every morning with the letter, because she was in first grade. So if you're familiar with Oak Meadows first grade, it's all about fairy tales connecting to the uppercase letters. And so I would draw the pictures and the letters on the board every day, and I would have our morning verse, and I would have our circle time songs and our finger plays, and I would write them all out on this huge chalkboard. And I had a nice circle wooden table that we would sit in, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But since we then downsized into a little apartment, I had to fit everything in one of those little 3-level homeschool carts. And that really forced me to downsize and get exactly what I needed, because at that time, then I had a kindergartner and a second grader. And so now we've moved into our new house, and my dining room is my homeschool room, which means that I just naturally don't decorate a homeschool room anymore. And I know that really goes against some educational philosophies where you should have your own homeschool space and it should look a certain way. But there are lots of homeschoolers that teach everything on the couch and at the dining room table. And so that's kind of what we've decided. We have a front room that has no electronics in it. It has instruments and couches and the bookshelf. That's actually where I am right now. We do all of our reading in there and our music. And then at the dining room table is where we sit and have our lessons. And what it really helps me to do is to not spend money on things that I don't have to have. So in that way, I save money because I'm not trying to decorate this room to look a certain way when I don't really have to. So it's one of those budget things that I don't need to decorate that room in a certain way. So I end up saving money because I'm not buying all of this extra decoration and furniture and things. I don't have to have them, so I don't have them. And I save actually a lot of money that way. I think they just want 1 million yogurts today. Okay, this is going to be the last one, okay? There you go. Now, shut the fridge, please. Can you shut the fridge, please? Thank you. The next way that I save money is I wait to buy things until they are on teacher discounts. And there are a lot of places that accept homeschool parents and homeschool teachers as teachers. Like Barnes & Noble is one of them that I use quite frequently. I wait until they have their teacher weekends, and then I will go in and I will buy the readers that I need to buy, or I'll go online and buy things online. And I get 25% off on those special teacher weekends. Normally I get 20% off, and you really don't have to have proof that you're a homeschooler, but obviously, I mean, you should be ethical about it, don't lie about it, but you don't have to have some type of special membership card with some group in order to get it. And a lot of places are like that. I just signed up to go to a consignment store, or like a big consignment sale for clothes and shoes, and that really has nothing to do with homeschooling. But because I'm a homeschool parent, I'm getting to go like 2 days early with a special pass. And so things like that are just take advantage of. They're everywhere, and sometimes all you need to do is ask. Just ask, like, hey, do you have an educational discount or an educator's card? And 9 times out of 10, I don't even think I've ever had an issue with someone saying, oh, well, you're a homeschooler, so you don't qualify. I've always had good luck with that. And so that's a way to save a lot of money on curriculum or books, readers, maps, pens, pencils, things like that. So what goes along with that is getting email coupons. There are places like Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. They will send you coupons every single day. You can even have a special email that's like your homeschool email, like blah 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 is homeschool at Gmail, and have them just all sent there. But you can take advantage of those coupons and get cheaper products that way. And you can also do that especially when public school is in session. So right when public school goes into session or private school goes into session, all of the schooling supplies that were out just like drop in price. So like I think a pack of Crayola crayons, the 24 pack, might have been $1.50 or $2. Now they're 50 cents. That's when you go and you just buy all of those things that you want. Ooh, anything like that, you can get a steep discount. a week after your local area schools start. And so I always wait to buy all of my school supplies until then, and I get great deals that way. So I've got my teacher discount cards for my books. I wait until all the big box stores around are putting things on sale. And then if I get special coupons in the mail from these specialty stores, I will use those as well. And you've seen in some of my videos where I've used Michael's especially because they send out huge discount coupons, and I will use those. I'll even just have an online order and have it sent to my house, and I've been able to save a lot of money that way, especially when you're buying specialty things like drawing pads or beeswax crayons, which I've done in the past, and they're always way more than, you know, ruled paper and Crayola crayons. So that is a great way to save money. Another way is to utilize Facebook groups. I use MathUC as my math curriculum, and I utilize that MathUC curriculum buy, sell, trade so much. I've basically bought everything from them online, from somebody else. So I can get, I think it's like $80 for the next year's step up of curriculum, and I have almost always bought it used for half the price from some mom who saved it or some dad who saved it across the United States. And so in the end, I'm giving them, other homeschool parents, money to buy the next set of curriculum, and then I'm getting something that it's just as good, just gently used. So I always try to do that, especially with things like manipulatives, blocks. I mean, after a certain point, you don't use those anymore. So if you can get those used from someone who just doesn't need them anymore, it's so much cheaper, so much cheaper. The last thing that I could think of was, I know I mentioned in the very beginning that I don't use disposable income because it's expensive, but I just mentioned that I use MathUC, and if you know anything about MathUC, you know it's a workbook. It's disposable. You buy it from the, what's it called, Demi Learning, and it's a big hunkin' workbook, and you work through the workbook and then you're done. Well, I have found 2 ways to get around that. And I'm not saying like don't give these people money, because I think they're a great company and I think it's a great curriculum, but I can't afford to buy, like, I think it's about $40 for the test book and the workbook every year. And so what I have started doing is I buy the workbook either brand new. I think I bought, the first year I did it, I bought it brand new from the company, but since then I've been able to find it on a Facebook group. I buy the workbook and then I rip out all the pages and I put them in page protectors, and my children write on it with a dry erase marker and erase it. And I have done that with Alpha, and I have done that with Beta with great success. So first grade, second grade-ish, with great success, to the point that now my second grader is using what her sister used previously. And then with my 4th grader, what she's doing this year is I actually bought a workbook that was spiral bound from another parent. And so instead of ripping out the pages and putting them in a notebook and with page protectors so she could write on it with wet erase or dry erase markers, I decided to just do what you do with like the Saxon math that a lot of people use, is she just uses her main lesson book and she writes number 1 and then writes it down on her main lesson book and writes the answer down. So she's not writing in the book at all. And since it's spiral bound, it's stronger and it looks nice, and hopefully it stays in good shape because it's not like really protected outside of that for my next child. So in the circumstances where I have bought and continue to use a type of disposable workbook type curriculum, I found a way to reuse it by actually not using the actual pages, like I was just going to throw them away. So let's see. So I would say the biggest ways to save money is in the type of curriculum that you pick, and that always is dependent on how much time you have, how your household rhythm runs. Because if I had 6 or 7 kids and they were all homeschooling, it would be really hard for me to sit down and do all the lesson plans like this. I only have 2 right now. I have a 4th grader and a 2nd grader. So I understand parents who have a lot of kids who put down workbooks, or who maybe just say, I'm not very good at orally teaching, but I want to homeschool, so I'm going to give you a workbook that's going to teach you, and then I'll just facilitate. So if that's you, then you're going to understand that I'm going to have to pay more to do this, but it's for the benefit of the homeschool. That's totally understandable. That's just a huge way to save money. And then, of course, the other way is utilizing all the sales And don't buy stuff that you don't absolutely need to have, because there are so many free resources out here. And so even though you might kind of want one of those beautiful, gorgeous homeschool rooms, you don't actually have to have one, especially if you really want to homeschool, but you just can't figure out how to save money to do it. It just looks too pricey. Think about something like that. You don't have to have a lot. Honestly, the biggest thing is a parent who cares, who's there, who's willing to help out, who is interested in what your child is doing, who is proactive, who's willing to read, who's willing to figure things out. That's what it comes down to. That is where the success of homeschooling truly lies, is letting your child be able to learn at their pace, with their interests, and having an engaged, dedicated parent. So if you have any tips that I missed, because I'm sure I did, put them in the comments below. Or if you think that maybe I missed the mark, or maybe didn't explain something as well, add it as well, because I might not have. And I look forward to learning how to save more money as well, because I'm getting ready to have a total of 4 kids at some point. We'll all be homeschooling at one time. So if you have any other great tips, I will like to hear them. I'm sure everyone else would too. And I really appreciate you making it this far if you did. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.